I mean, it's simple. You have to come out and play with the killer instinct. You have to have that intensity.
Where was that tonight?
I have no idea. I hate watching the Lakers play sometimes because towards the end they try to play the hero ball. Okay. You said LeBron James the greatest player ever?
Ever.
What about Michael and Kobe? So you just gonna pass Kobe up like that?
I'm gonna pass Kobe up. I'm gonna look at Michael. I'm gonna look at the. I'm gonna look at.
I knew it. Patron, America.
Yo.
When Shaquille O'Neal tells LeBron James to stop measuring himself against Michael Jordan, those words carry a lot more weight once you dive into the numbers. At that point, the debate goes beyond personal opinions. It becomes a discussion built on accomplishments and statistics. And once those numbers are placed side by side, the comparison becomes much harder to ignore. Take a moment to think about what LeBron has accomplished. He has already surpassed 40,000 career points, making him the NBA's all-time leading scorer, while also ranking among the league's top 5 all-time assist leaders. That's an incredible combination. Very few players in basketball history have been capable of becoming the greatest scorer ever while simultaneously being recognized as one of the game's elite playmakers. On the other side, Michael Jordan ended his legendary career with 32,292 points, a remarkable achievement by any standard, but he reached that total in a completely different fashion. Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game, still the highest scoring average in NBA history, while LeBron has maintained roughly 27 points per game throughout a career spanning more than 20 years. So the debate quickly becomes one of peak dominance versus unmatched longevity, explosive scoring versus sustained excellence over time. This is exactly where Shaq's point starts to make sense. When he says the comparison should stop, he's highlighting the fact that these two legends built their greatness in completely different ways. Jordan's reign was shorter, but nearly flawless. He captured 6 championships, went 6-0 in the NBA Finals, earned 6 Finals MVP awards, and never once needed a Game 7 on the league's biggest stage. That level of perfection is almost impossible to replicate. LeBron's path tells a different story. He reached the finals 10 times, won 4 championships, and accomplished those titles with 3 different franchises operating under 3 completely different systems. He has remained elite through multiple generations of basketball, proving he could evolve, adjust, and continue winning regardless of how the game changed. That's a different kind of greatness. One built on adaptability, consistency, and surviving at the highest level for decades.
Where do we start? It's just amazing at his age.
Yeah.
What he came into the league, what we perceived him as an athlete, a dunker.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing as a complete scorer, shooter, and everything else under the sun. So it was just a cool moment. See him get to his spot, fade away, new record.
Now here's the angle that rarely gets enough attention. LeBron has already appeared in more than 1,400 regular season games, and that number is still climbing. On top of that, he's logged well over 280 playoff games. That's the equivalent of several additional seasons played under the highest possible pressure. Jordan, by comparison, finished with just over 1,072 regular season appearances and roughly 179 playoff games. So, when critics point to LeBron's higher number of finals losses, they're leaving out an important piece of the story. He also reached that stage far more often. He remained a legitimate championship contender for an extraordinary stretch of time, something very few players in NBA history have ever managed. This is where many younger fans oversimplify the debate. They look at the championship count and stop there. 6 titles versus 4. Case closed. But Shaq's argument encourages people to dig beyond the surface. Championships alone can't be the only measuring stick. If they were, then someone like Robert Horry would have to be included in every greatest of all time discussion. That's why context is so important. The level of competition matters. The circumstances behind every championship matter. And perhaps most importantly, maintaining elite performance over an incredibly long career deserves to be part of the conversation as well.
They didn't have focus, and I'm glad the Rockets beat them. We know what needs to be done to win the championship. LeBron knows that. I'm surprised that they didn't come out with that effort and intensity, and I'm super disappointed in the Lakers tonight.
Now let's shift the focus to overall impact, because this is one of the biggest reasons LeBron stands out. Throughout his career, he's consistently averaged about 7 rebounds and 7 assists per game, a level of all-around production that no superstar has sustained for this many years. Jordan's numbers were outstanding as well, finishing with roughly 6 rebounds and 5 assists per game. But his game was built differently. His primary responsibility was overwhelming opponents with his scoring while locking them down on the defensive end. Speaking of defense, this is one area where Jordan clearly holds the advantage. He earned a Defensive Player of the Year award along with 9 first-team all-defensive selections, proving he dominated on both sides of the floor year after year. LeBron has also delivered elite defense during various stages of his career, but he hasn't maintained that same level of defensive excellence as consistently over the full length of his career. This is where the comparison becomes more complicated. You're no longer evaluating 2 players with identical responsibilities. You're comparing 2 completely different approaches to greatness. Jordan was the ultimate finisher, the player every team relied on when the game came down to one final possession. LeBron operates differently. He's the engine that drives the entire offense, reading the defense, creating opportunities, and often choosing the smartest basketball play. Instead of forcing the final shot himself, which style you value more will naturally shape your opinion in the GOAT debate. There's another important detail that often gets overlooked. When you dive into advanced analytics, the gap between these 2 legends becomes even smaller. LeBron owns one of the highest player efficiency ratings ever recorded, right alongside Jordan among the greatest in NBA history. His career win shares are even higher, largely because he's maintained elite production over such an incredible length of time, allowing him to contribute to more total team success across his career. At the same time, Jordan's absolute peak remains almost unmatched. Many analysts still view his best seasons as some of the most dominant stretches the league has ever witnessed, when he controlled games offensively while completely disrupting opponents on defense.
I'm going to say one thing to you, Max. I don't know the numbers like you do. Michael Jordan is what in the finals? 6 and what?
Oh.
And what is LeBron in the finals? That's all I got to say.
This is where a lot of younger fans get the discussion wrong. They assume there can only be one definition of greatness and try to judge every all-time player by the exact same standard. But that's not the point Shaq is making. His argument is that greatness can take different forms depending on the player. Jordan's legacy was built on unmatched dominance and an incredible ability to close the biggest moments without fail. LeBron's legacy, meanwhile, has been defined by constant evolution, adjusting to every new challenge and maintaining elite performance for far longer than most people believed was even possible. And that's exactly why Shaq's message comes full circle. When he says it's time to stop comparing LeBron to Jordan, he isn't questioning LeBron's greatness at all. In fact, he's suggesting the opposite. LeBron has accomplished so much that his career no longer needs to be measured against anyone else's to be appreciated. Take Jordan out of the conversation for a moment, and LeBron's resume becomes almost unbelievable on its own. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer, ranks among the top 5 in career assists, has earned more than 20 All-Star selections, collected multiple MVP awards, won championships with different franchises, and continues to perform at an elite level even as he plays through his late 30s and into his 40s.
When LeBron passes up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in points, and he will this year, will that make him the greatest player ever? An interesting question.
This is where the conversation becomes even more complicated. As long as LeBron continues to be measured against Jordan, every setback is magnified. A single missed shot turns into another talking point. Every playoff elimination becomes another chapter in the GOAT debate. That's exactly what Shaq is challenging. His argument is simple. Why keep judging LeBron through Jordan's legacy when his own accomplishments already establish him as an all-time great in a completely different way? Here's what often gets overlooked. If you evaluate their careers independently instead of forcing a head-to-head comparison, you may realize they represent 2 entirely different versions of greatness. Jordan symbolizes the highest peak imaginable. LeBron represents unmatched endurance and sustained excellence. Jordan was the perfect burst of dominance. LeBron has been the relentless force that refused to fade over 2 decades. And that's where the real discussion begins. If LeBron retires with more than 42,000 career points, over 11,000 assists, and more than 11,000 rebounds, should that body of work outweigh Jordan's flawless finals record and unmatched scoring dominance? Or does an undefeated championship resume still carry more weight than extraordinary longevity? That's the question with no definitive answer. There isn't a statistic that completely settles this debate. So here's something to think about. Was Shaq right when he said it's time to stop comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan altogether? Or do accomplishments like these guarantee that the comparison will continue for generations to come? Because if there's one thing the numbers prove, it's not who the GOAT is. They simply make the debate even more fascinating.